It's been said that sometimes the choices we make define who we are. So what choices are you making? Hi, this is Pastor Zach, and you're watching From the Desk from First Evangelical Free Church here in Colorado Springs. If you were following our church service last week, you know that we were looking at Joshua chapter 24. This was the final challenge that Joshua, who had led the people of Israel into Canaan to capture the promised land, this was the last speech that he gave, challenging God's people to choose to follow him, particularly when they were looking at the gods and the practices of the land that they were about to occupy. In the message, we looked at three things that we could learn from this. The first is that it is a real choice. We need to choose God. The second is that it's a choice that's predicated on the past. God has been working, and he continues to work in our lives. And so when we talk about Jesus, when we talk about the gospel, we need to talk about it in the context of what he has done, both in our personal lives and in global history. The third thing that we needed to remember is that while we will often fail, God never fails. The whole point of the book of Joshua is to remind God's people that he keeps his promises, so we can trust him to keep the promises that he continues to make to us even today. Two things I wanted to come back to as we talk together on From the Desk, on this first From the Desk of 2024. The first is to come back to this idea of filling our coffee cup with the right things. As I said on Sunday, I love coffee, I love drinking coffee, and if I've filled my coffee cup with something other than coffee, I can't put coffee in it. Many of us look at our busy schedules and we look at all the things that we fill our life with, and we have difficulty making room for things that we know are really important. So many New Year's resolutions have to do with creating new habits, things that we want to be better at. Things like going out for more walks, or watching what we're eating, or watching less TV. All of those things are good, but maybe the biggest choices that we can make about our habits are getting into some new ones, like reading the Bible every day. There are some great Bible reading plans that can take you through the entire Bible in a year, in 180 days, in just 90 days. For my personal Bible reading, I'm doing two things. I'm reading the Bible in 180 days, and I'm also using a book that goes through the Heidelberg Confessions throughout the entire year. Perhaps you need to choose to fill your brain with something that is more God-honoring than it was. If, for instance, you're a person who enjoys playing video games, perhaps examine which games you're playing. Maybe it means changing what movies or television shows you're watching, filling it with things that honor God. Philippians 4:8 says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any moral excellence, if there is anything praiseworthy, dwell on these things." Maybe you need to take a moment this week and evaluate, what are you dwelling on? The second thing I wanted to talk about today is on that final point about the fact that very often we're just going to fail. In fact, we know that we are going to fail, that there's no way that we can, of our own effort, ever bring us into right relationship with God. However, that may have been misinterpreted. It means that we will never ever be able to have success in even our own sanctification. The fact is that God works throughout our lives. If you are a follower of Christ, if you have been regenerated by the Holy Spirit, God is constantly working to make you more like his Son. It has been said that the mark of maturity in a believer isn't that we don't sin anymore, but that the frequency and severity of that sin diminishes as we grow closer to Christ. We know that the Spirit working in your life will help you make choices that honor God. In Galatians 5, God reminds us that the fruit of the Spirit in our lives is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. And it's in contrast to the way we used to live. As we grow in our walk with Christ, we will make better decisions. We will have success. But it's important to remember, however, that it's God who ultimately does the work. And one of the great joys that we have is, even though often we fail at things like New Year's resolutions, we have confidence that God will never fail to fulfill his promise, which includes making us more like his Son. I have high hopes for 2024. I think this is a year that we are going to see God do some incredible things in the lives of our friends, family, and in our church. I think that we're going to see lives changed for the sake of the gospel, and I'm excited that I get to be a part of that as we fellowship together here on YouTube and Facebook as you're following our church services, or if you're subscribed so that you get to see our From the Desk videos every week. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you see when these videos go up. Can't wait to see you again next week right here on From the Desk.